All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Thursday to you. It is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. This morning, we're going to talk about a very important topic in today's environment, today's society. Not everything is what it seems. There's so many different aspects to this. Yesterday was the verdict of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. That was a big deal for a lot of people. And, anybody that was following along with that probably has some perspective on that. But it goes further than that. This current environment that we live in, it's complicated. It's not easy. If you're not super aware, you can get wrapped up in thinking that things are different than what they actually are. And so that's what we're going to unpack this morning. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, what's happening, guys? Good morning to you. I hope you guys are having an awesome morning. This morning, we're going to dig into a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been talking about this topic to people individually, but I want to dig into it, in a little bit more detail here. I think that it is important for us to realize, what stage of evolution we're in as, human beings. And, when things change at such a fast rate in the world, social media and technology being one of those, the ability for people to market to human beings has changed so rapidly, right? Like, if you go back 20 years ago, 2002, Google was 5 years old. Technology as a whole was not what it is today. And so, with technology being what it is today, I want you guys to recognize one important thing and never forget this. So when you're scrolling social media, when you're interacting on websites, when you're, online consuming content of any kind, not everything is what it seems. And the ability to manipulate people is at a level that it's never been before. And if you're not aware of that at a very high level, you can easily be manipulated. And so what does that mean? Well, there's so many different aspects of it, but I was just talking to Trudy here in the office this morning about some of what has transpired here recently with, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is a great example of this. The whole entire trial or the argument and the damage that was done, a lot of it was connected to an op-ed that was written in the Washington Post, right? And so why was that article written? What was the impact of it? How did Johnny Depp end up being awarded $15 million as a result of all the things that transpired there? Well, it happened because we live in a world where clicks are the king, right? If you can get attention and you can, go out there and manipulate people who want to read negativity and want to read things that, just spread like wildfire through society, that leads to a lot of different things. It leads to somebody wanting to write that article, somebody being Amber Heard. It leads to a media company, the Washington Post, wanting to publish that article. And it leads to a lot of destruction in somebody's life that, at the end of the day, was that person deserving? That's not for me to decide. A jury decided what the damage was. But this issue of not everything being what it seems goes much further than that particular example in instance. In this world of social media, and I, this year I've been so busy that I've become more of a consumer than a producer than I was in the past when it comes to, social media. I used to put out a lot more posts. I used to share a lot more on my stories. I used to, and hopefully I can get back to that, but it's been a really, really busy year. And so that has put me in a position to kind of, take a step back and watch those people who are, more on the producing side. And what I've noticed is that people follow people on social media, and they become fans, if you will, without much verification and without much thought, right? It's just the frequency and consistency that people put out content and that they share messages and that they are able to produce things that look like a certain way. They become instantly qualified in today's society. And that's a scary thing, right? And when you think about media channels and you think about, this is a great example, the Washington Post, or you think about anything that's put out there, there's such a bias to media organizations publishing things. Here's what I want you guys to know. All of them can be bought and paid for. Every single last one of them can be paid to publish something. And I shouldn't say every last one of them. I would guess the majority can be bought and paid for. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that all the things that you see out there still need verification. You shouldn't take anything at surface level because there's a big system out there for people to be manipulated. And I want you guys, the reason that I'm sharing this morning is I don't want you to be one of them. I don't want you to be somebody that goes and just trusts people that you see online because, you see them online and they seem a certain way. Like, you should look into things. You should verify things. You should not judge people on surface level things like an article that comes out in the Washington Post that makes you assume that somebody is a certain way. It's not fair to people. It's not fair that people go out there and get dumped into a funnel of somebody that claims to be able to help them with something that they're not even qualified to help with. So we live in a world, guys, it's moving a lot faster than it used to. Used to be a lot more difficult for people to market to an audience. Now it's easy. There's so many tools and so many resources, and anybody can buy them. And so it's more important than ever before for us to be aware of what it is that we're buying, or what it is that we're thinking, or what it is that we're believing. This all starts and ends with how clear we are on our own values and how centered we can be and how aware we can be when it comes to what it is that we're consuming. It's difficult. This is a huge shift that we're going through. I believe in history, if you look back 20 years from now and you look back to this current time, people are going to say, there's a time period. Maybe it's 2010 or 12 to right now, and who knows how long it'll be before we really adapt as a humanity to this new world that we live in of technology consumption and content consumption at a level that people are able to psychologically be manipulated in a way that has never happened before. And it's important for all of us to recognize this and to really think. And it's not, by the way, there's a balance to everything. It's not about questioning everything and trusting nothing. That's not it. But it's about being aware and being fair to the thoughts that you have and not ending up in believing every single thing that you read. Over the past several years, and our previous president, President Trump, called out the media quite a bit. And whether you agree with President Trump or you disagree with his politics or you like him or you hate him, there is something to be said for what he was talking about. The media, when you break it down, the media is just a bunch of people too. And what you read are those people's biases and those people's opinions. And they're not always verifying the stories. That's been proven a million times. They're not always verifying the stories, and they're not always telling the truth. That's just a fact. Doesn't matter if you liked the former president or hated him. He has a point. And I've talked to many people that when you read an article in a newspaper that is of significant size and history, there's a psychological bias that goes along with that. You have other publications online that share articles and talk about, endorsing people for different things. Not everything is what it seems, guys. Those places can be bought and paid for. And so not everything is what it seems. Do I suggest that you should question everything? Yeah, to some degree. Do I think that you should trust nothing? No, not really. I'm not suggesting you should trust nothing, but I do believe that you should think through things and make sure that you're not stuck in some funnel somewhere, believing something that isn't true. Because in today's society, somebody can create this big appearance of anything they want, of someone, being a victim of domestic violence, being a victim of something else, being an expert at something that they don't know much about or haven't done themselves. And it's important for us to be aware of that stuff so that we can sort through what is what, and we can make great decisions, and we can own it when we don't make a great decision. We can realize without going too far down the funnel what happened and how we get out of it. Because not everything is what it seems. I myself have, been through this exact scenario of, believing something to be true and realizing down the road that maybe it wasn't. And it's not a great feeling, right? But we live and we learn. And it is so important for us to understand that this world we live in is moving faster than ever before, which means we are being manipulated faster than ever before. What does that mean? Well, it means we should probably be more aware than we've ever been before if we want to keep up, right? If we want to make the right decisions and get to the right destination with the right people, with the right ideas and the right thoughts, we have to be more aware than we've ever been. And so that's a message for you this morning that's, different than normal on this show. But I think it's important to realize, man, like you can read things out there. You can be following people that you believe are a certain way. And man, behind closed doors, they might be very different. And so it's important for us to have a heightened level of awareness of everything that's going on in the world, man, because time is precious. Time is the most precious resource that we all have, and where we spend that time, really important. If we start spending time reading things that aren't true and believing things and gossiping about whatever article is published or, whatever it may be, those are things that we can't undo. And we can't get that time back. And so when you think about that in your own life, what does it look like? Are you in some people's funnels that you don't belong in? It's hard to admit, right? But not everything is what it seems. When you read things online, or you read things, or you see things, or you see people posting things, or you believe a certain thing, you verify it, man. Take some time to actually ask some questions before you just, end up down a rabbit hole you don't belong in. And I see it all the time. And I'm working hard, creating plans, creating strategies to help bring awareness to this kind of thing, because it's frustrating to watch sometimes. And, for all of us, it's a challenge. It's easy to end up in those situations. I've been there myself. But in this world, and somebody just said it here, I can't tell who it is, but over on LinkedIn, somebody put a comment, we must not abandon our own instincts, intuition, and intellect. I'm telling you, man, the faster that you move, the faster that you consume this content online, it's easier to miss this stuff. It's easier to end up in a situation that you don't belong in and not have any idea how you ended up there. And so I challenge you guys, think at a higher level, man. Slow it down a little bit and really think and process how you're looking at things, because it's easy to be convinced by marketing in today's world. Repetition is a big thing, man. Somebody hits you 1,000,000 times, you can start to really believe something that's not true because somebody says it often enough. That's what happens, unfortunately. So with that said, that's enough for you to think about today. Not everything is what it seems. Question it, man. Get some advice, verify things, ask a lot of questions, and most importantly, be an independent thinker. Nothing wrong with being part of a group. Nothing wrong with, associating yourself to certain things. Nothing wrong with that. But just ask questions. Make sure it's right for you. And don't try to go so fast that you make a lot of mistakes. And don't, by any means, believe everything that you see or everything that you read. Question everything, right? And anybody that doesn't tell you to do that, you should trust a lot less. That's my message for today, guys. A little different look on perspective this morning. It's not meant to be negative. It's actually meant to be positive. It's actually meant to lead you to a positive place. And I think that it's a great reminder for all of us that it's easy to jump into a movement. It's easy to jump onto a bandwagon. It's hard to stand alone. And those that I admire most are willing to stand up for what they believe, stand on their own, stand all by themselves, believing what they believe. Somebody said it here, follow your gut, right? And most people that make mistakes, when I talk to them after the fact, usually they had a gut feeling and they didn't follow it. So that's the perspective for this morning. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow morning. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.